leaders. We've got some of our Be Your Best You Badger bracelets that they're gonna pass out to all of you.
Absolutely.
Just a little reminder to always be your best, no matter what. So. This is Connor Osborne and Shelby Nash. So.
Would everybody rise for the flag salute? Well, Connor and Shelby lead us.
Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Nick. All right, Connor and Shelby, real quickly. Tell us what you like about school.
What I like about school is I like doing math, science, and pretty much a lot of it because I do run club during recess, and I really like spending time with my classmates.
That's awesome.
I like spending time with my classmates and friends, and I like reading and math.
And what grades are you in?
Fourth.
Both of you, fourth. Okay, is Mr. Gilbertson a keeper or should we toss him aside?
You still have a half a year to go.
You guys like recess?
We'll keep it because you seem to like it.
Your silence is very rigid.
Thank you, guys.
Let's give him a round of applause.
Okay, Tammy, please let the record show that all board members are present. Do we have any agenda additions, deletions, or revisions, or a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll move to approve the agenda.
Thank you, Eric. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Kelsey. We'll do the roll call. Jen?
Yes.
Kevin? Yes. Kelsey?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Okay, moving on to recognitions, Dr. Hoff.
Yes, for our staff recognition this month, I thought back to my time in principal school and the first thing they tell you when you're getting your administrative license is who really runs the school are the front office secretaries. So, and we have here in Crook County across all our schools, such an awesome group of staff members who work hard tirelessly, set amazing tone for the culture. So we wanted to recognize some representatives. So I'm actually going to start by Mr. Huffman and the high school secretaries coming up first. So we've got Dina, Bailey, Pavla, and Debbie's not here. So come on up. Let's give them a round of applause. Want to introduce each one and say how long they've been from the district.
That's not right. I didn't know how to do that. This is Dina Marshall. This is her 6th year here. She's the lead office secretary supervisor. Bailey Everest, new hire this year, Crook County grad class of
22.
class of 22, and then Pamela Prass has been here for 5. Amazing team here.
Any questions for Dina, Bailey, or Pavla?
What's your favorite part of the job?
What's your guys' favorite part of the job?
We'll all have the same answer.
Okay, then I'm gonna go first. The relationships that I build with the students and the students and the parents and Jake. I love being able to just be around people all day. And it's just a fun environment. I would say getting to know the students.
We're very lucky. We do take a picture. We didn't tell you this, but we have to take a picture if that's okay.
All right.
And Jake and I have to be in it.
Okay.
That's all right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Let's give them a round of applause. We have one more group of secretaries. We're also going to have Principal Gilbertson come back, as well as Taylor Herring and Marissa Ortiz. And these are our Barnes Butte secretary staff. Let's give them a round of applause. So I think we'll go with the same question. What do you like most about the job?
Getting to know the student.
The staff and parents, all of the above.
Absolute rock stars. We could not do what we do without them. And the best part about it is they know it. So they show up every day and work really hard. And the worst part about it is that they know it. So they get away with it.
And you've been with us how long?
Oh, 3 years.
3 years. 3 years.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Taylor, do you like your job or hunting better? I don't get you on that.
Depends on the day.
Yeah. If I had to choose.
Thank you, guys. Let's give another round. All right, so our next, we're gonna shift to our students, and I wanted to start off
Can we
with,
just take, before you do that, there's a whole list of secretaries here. We recognize 5 in person, but maybe you could just read off those we wanted to recognize tonight for the camera.
definitely, so, we have a ton of secretaries across the district, so I'm just starting, Jenna Valente, Steensviller, Jen Bond, lead secretary at Crooked River, Christy Brees, lead secretary at GMH, you saw Pavla. We've got Julie DeRost is another secretary at GMH. We saw Bailey and Taylor. Elizabeth Howell is our lead secretary, IA and cafeteria attendant, so she wears a lot of hats out at Brothers Elementary. Jeannie Koch, is our secretary over at Pioneer. Victoria Mize, secretary at Crooked River, and I think she's been there decades. Dina Marshall we saw. Michelle Morgan is our registrar and secretary at Crook County Middle School. Marissa Ortiz, you met, from Barnes Butte. We got Morgan Pennington, who's our registrar and counseling secretary at Crook County High. Debbie Proctor, if you don't know Debbie, she's been around darn near close to 30 years, I believe. And she'll be retiring at the end of this year, but she's the athletic secretary at Crook County High. We have Jenny Riley at Paulina, Sarah Sawyer at Crook County Middle School, and finally Shelby Warren at Steensville Elementary. So lots of secretary, a lot of people doing amazing work. Let's give them another round of applause.
Really make the district look. Thank you very much.
So I'm gonna shift over. We're gonna move to our student group. And this is, as we've talked about, the Crook County High School club started a broadcasting club. And this was, before we bring them up, they're here, we're gonna start with a video from last week's game. And it might be a little loud, so I'm gonna turn it down.
Hi.
The ball. Clock's going. Let's see it, ladies and gentlemen. Final play of the game, most likely. Bills with the ball. Passes it to Decker. Decker with the 3-point.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
The Cowgirls. 54 to 53. Oh my God. My God.
Who is that?
That would be me.
Buzzer beater goes to you.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
So it went to them and it went to most of the crowd as well.
I'm gonna invite Jake Ulrich, who actually gets the full credit for starting this club. He's their staff representative. Jake, why don't you come up and guys, why don't you join in? Jake, if you just want to introduce them and share your favorite class and any other details.
Yeah, so I'm Jake Ulrich. I just came here. This year is my first year at the school. I do the leadership class as well. But I like sports and not every kid plays sports. And I thought broadcasting is a really cool way to get kids involved. So I talked to a couple different students and very quickly found kind of a small group. Not everyone could be here tonight. But this is kind of some of the boys that help run this thing. And I'll let you guys introduce yourself.
I'm Bryce Baker.
I'm Sebastian Lawrence.
And I'm Dylan Hagedorn.
What do you guys do in our crew?
Oh, I'm controlling of the camera, which way they go with the ball.
And I'm one of the main commentators. In every one of those videos, you'll probably hear my voice in there at least some point or another. Well, yeah, of course. I'm a talkative guy. So I really like commentating over the sport because it's really amazing to be able to watch it. I know that I don't really play the sports, but it's amazing to be able to just commentate over it and breathe in that kind of life that it needs.
I do
Paying back to Dylan, but I don't really talk that much.
Oh, man, I do kind of.
He controls over it.
Yeah. I'll give you that.
So yeah, we're hoping to broadcast lots of sports starting now, doing, spring sports in the gym is easiest. So like boys volleyball in the spring, hopefully we'll start doing football in the fall as well.
That's so great.
Dylan, what do you like in class? You must be a
Well,
teacher's delight.
what am I like in class? Kind of a goofy. I know me and Aaron Raj have a specific bond where like
Of course.
he called me Haagen-Dazs because nobody can ever get my last name correctly. So he's just like, all right, you know what? Haagen-Dazs, you get to answer the question. Yeah, no, ice cream bar, absolutely amazing.
Other questions?
But yeah, no, I absolutely love this school and I love coming here every day. So
Where did you come from?
where do I come from? I was born here. I moved around Oregon a little bit, but me and my family came back here. So.
Great. Other questions?
This just brought so much joy to my heart. Like, I think there's so much. I think seeing a group of young men like cheer on women playing sports, like there's so much coolness and goodness there. And
Yeah, of course. It's absolutely amazing to be able to do something like that.
so
How'd you guys hear about the club? I mean, I know he got it together, but I went on the street.
It was actually dragged into it by these guys.
because
Couple.
you don't like to talk very much.
Oh no. If I did, I'd be letting these two talk. We won't know. No. Oh yeah, so I learned it from Lake and Wild, who was going to be here tonight, but sadly couldn't make it, and Sebastian Blevins. They were both like, you know what, you should really join this club. I think it's right up your alley, man. And after like about 2 weeks of them telling me, come on, man, you got to come to one of the meetings. You got to meet Mr. Ulrich. I'm like, you know what, fine, let's do it today. So I went and met Ulrich, and I'm going to tell you right now, one of the best teachers at the school. You're one of the coolest guys at this school, in my opinion. I love you, man. You're the greatest. And thank you so much for like doing this club. If these guys hadn't told me about it, if they hadn't found you, then I wouldn't have known, and we wouldn't have had some of the amazing clips that we've been able to produce. And it's great. It's amazing to be able to do this.
Mr. Ulrich, it's great that you're doing the indoor broadcasting. We have some amazing outdoor activities too. Is there a resource gap that we could fill that would help you be able to do the outdoors?
We're working with Eric a lot and we're kind of figuring out what we have right now. I think a grant or something like that. So we're not really sure yet what that looks like. If there is, we'll definitely.
Please there is something, let us know. We want to encourage you and the great work they're doing. Thank you.
Mr. Cooper, I will say that we were able to utilize basically all of the board equipment that we used to use for our traveling board meetings. So the 3 cameras, the whole rack setup. So there was no cost at all to get this up and running. And now we're really trying to just get a feedback loop of like, how do we do a post-game interview on the court? What do we need to make that happen? So we're in close with communication about how we grow this thing, grow it at the right scale. So.
Great, thank you. That's an unusual use of your IT department.
There you go.
Wonderful and amazing. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen, very much.
Of course. You gotta take a picture and you got a flag.
Oh, we got a flag. You shouldn't have. Of course.
You get to go on the wall for 12 months.
That's going on your wall.
Thank you.
But then you got something amazing, I guess, to get back on.
Oh, that was great.
All right.
Here, this belongs to you.
You do. Here, one more person, right?
Yeah.
Let's give them a round of applause.
So our last recognition of the night is actually a new annual award that we're gonna start doing. And as we started the year, one of our big themes, as you guys heard, is building bridges and partnering with the community. So we wanted to highlight an annual award to who we felt a community member who was going above and beyond to partner with the Crook County School District. So as I talked with the director team, looking at just a large span of someone who themselves and their company has done so much to help our school district. We thought we'd want to recognize Jason Snyder and Snyder Landscaping as our 25-26 Community Partner of the Year Award. So Jason, Marcus, you guys want to come up? Let's give them a round of applause. So, you've probably seen Jason around. I first got to know him when, he completely redid the Crooked River courtyard. He brought his company over and, Kimberly just raves on, how he goes above and beyond in everything he does. And then, as we were talking about that, Leland mentioned, well, you know, Jason, when his guys have an off day or they're not busy, Jason will call Leland and just volunteer his crew to come and work for free to, around the Staines Pillar, playground outdoor area. And then, as we were working on our, getting our plan for our Barnes Butte Elementary fields, I called Jason and he said, hey, I'll come up and quote every, tell you all the irrigation equipment you need, which was a huge help. So he just serves. Every time we reach out, he goes above and beyond. He's exactly, what makes Crook County, our schools and our community strong. So we thought he'd be the perfect guy to recognize as the first ever, community partner of the year. So
Thank you.
Jason Snyder.
Great team.
Yeah, awesome. Okay. So any questions?
I just want to mention too, the interior courtyard at Crooked River that you did. And that's not a space most people get to see because you have to go inside the school to see it, but it's an amazing job. And these natural playgrounds, which you planned, I believe, when it got Steens and put in, are the cutting edge of how to do playgrounds today. So we are right there where we would want to be leading the pack and have a beautiful example for anybody who wants to go see it. I've sent people over just to look at it.
Well, I think
Thank
that
you.
those spaces are what everybody wants to be in, and I think I got kids, going through that pipeline too, so it's about just kind of giving back and keep going for it.
It's a wonderful, wonderful contribution. Thank
Appreciate
you.
it, Jason. That's all for recognitions. Ready for 3.2? Yes. So, board recognition month. We've got some good stuff for you. So I want to go around. We've got, we do not know what we'd be without you. That's from your Crook River third grade team. My favorite, actually, thanks for uplifting us, and each balloon has a board member's name on it. Steens Pillar, I believe every single kid in the school signed that sign. A crowd favorite, Snow Thankful for our school board. And if you look, the details are important. Each, those are the fingerprints of the kids from, I think that's first grade or kindergarten. And then we've got CCSD School Board Making a World of Difference, signed by a number of students. And then finally, don't forget, thank you from the bottom of our hearts with a lot of hearts. So some great stuff put together. A special thanks to Crooked River, Steens Pillar, putting together these amazing signs. And then we put together, this was a little bit of a roller coaster. You should never conspire with board members' family when you're in an appointment process. But we put together a video from some special people.
Yeah, we prepared our questions for our interview is. Okay, so first question, what do you like about your grandpa being on the school board?
That it makes me feel my best behavior and every time I get bragging rights that my grandpa is on the school board.
Second question, what about your grandpa's work on the school board makes you feel proud or inspired?
Knowing that he does the best things for the kids in the school district.
Third question, what do you value or appreciate about your grandpa's role on the board?
Fighting for things I don't understand to help us all be more successful in school.
Okay. Okay, what is your favorite memories of Papa?
Going to California and saying hi to my grandma, which is on many adventures.
Yeah? Perfect.
Hey, Mom, I just want to take a quick second and say thank you very much, not only for what you do for Dad, Josh, and I, but also with all your work in the community, with the school district. You do a great job and you've accomplished so much, and we're all very proud of you. So.
Hey Mom, just wanted to say thank you for all of your dedication and hard work. Caleb and I are very proud of you and all that you have accomplished as a school board member. All of us in the community, thank you, and we just wanted to say that. We love you.
What I like about my mom on the school board is that she cares for all students and she doesn't make one special except for us three. And I just really like that about her. what I like about my hard school is what I like about this school is that that she can help people learn who need to learn and have a great time at our school. We love you, Mom.
And I just wanted to take a second to say thank you. Thank you for everything you've done for me, and thank you for everything that you've done to the school district. I've seen you devote so many hours to making it as amazing and incredible as it is today, and I just want to say thanks.
What I like about my dad being on the school board is it's kind of cool to be on the school board, and I think they like him a lot. So I think it's pretty cool to help other kids and help other communities.
What I like my dad being on the school board for is that he gets to help our schools and our community make them better. He inspires me to help the community in different ways, and I hope that I can do those things too.
Thank you.
That's all she could get out. So that means we do this. The families were also grateful for each one of you and the countless hours that you guys spend putting into our very little, actually no pay, and just your hearts in it all. So from the depths of all of our hearts, staff, we're just so grateful for you guys. So thank you.
Thank you.
That was very inspiring, Joel, and I think even though you're up for evaluation for permanency, you survived. Jen, could you see that? And are you crying?
Yes, on all levels.
Yeah, that was very sweet. All right, student feedback section. So just to set this up a little bit, we have been looking at the last, I don't know, few months, last year at trying to figure out how we could bring more student input into board activities and governance. And we looked at a number of models around the state for the ways different people were doing it. Students, they're not electable, so there's a limit as to how much they can get involved, but their perspective is still really important because everything we decide eventually affects them. So we sent staff out with this model that we've been using to go out and talk to students in advance, review the board with them, explain the significance of the items, and then bring back that feedback to the board. So we hear before we head into business what it is that our students want us to know about their unique perspective. And this is our first attempt tonight to summarize that activity. So
this is it.
Joel, tell us what you found out.
I'm actually going to start off by inviting Miss Sophie Fisher up to join us. So
Hi, Sophie.
okay, cool. Thanks, Sophie. So we eventually want to expand this to not just leadership students, but for the first month. So last week we met, Bree and I went over to the high school leadership and went through the agenda topics. And like I've said before, high schoolers love to give you their opinions. So we've got a lot of feedback. And this just goes through the main agenda items. So around SROs and safety, one of the big items they brought up was the parking lot. So the high school team does a great job getting supervision out there. It sounds like that back parking we want to continue to target as an area to look out for safety and making sure students are doing the right thing in the parking lot. So that's an area that we'll work on. Around the committees and the academic committees, we talked about increasing academic recognitions for students. That came back as a big thing where we do a lot in a great way recognizing our athletes, but how can we expand those opportunities? We put into place an end of year academic recognition, and the students were on, could we do more of those throughout the year? Expanding support to online classes. We had students taking through the Crook County online options some courses, and we're wondering, hey, could we get some more support through that? And then another interesting one where the idea of could we start a newspaper club popped up again. So that was real interesting feedback. Facilities is where we spent about 90% of our conversation. And within that 90%, about 90% of that was around the high school bathrooms. So high school bathrooms are not up to what our student standards are. So next Friday, I talked to Leah and he said, well, how about I come and get a list So next Friday, Leland, Jake and I will meet with the high school group again and start getting specific details on what quick improvements we can make on those high school bathrooms. We talked about athletics and auditorium improvements, some technology ideas. The group is definitely in alignment that the middle school needs a lot of work. A lot of them came from the middle school and recognize that as a facility that needs a ton of work. And then one thing that was so great where we talked through how the students were like, hey, wasn't there a vote or something, or how can we? And we talked about a school bond and their desire to get involved with that. Sophie, any gaps that I missed to fill in?
No, I think that covers it pretty well. Yeah.
Any other insight you'd like to share with the board?
I don't know. I'm on the student voice committee in leadership, so that's kind of like where we get the feedback. And so that's really cool now to like deliver back to you guys. Like it just makes it, I think, go smoother. That we just like have it right there. We just worked on another form to send out today to the student body, and it's fun. It's cool.
Sophie, could you tell me more about expand support in online courses?
So I actually haven't taken an online course, so I don't have like experience with it, but from what I've heard, I think the one that was mentioned was an AP Psych class online, and I just think she mentioned, the girl that was taking it, that she didn't feel like she had enough support because she didn't really know what she was doing within the course, and the teacher that like helps with that kind of stuff also didn't really understand the course, so it just kind of didn't go very well for her.
Remember that conversation, there was something around where the actual online teacher was on the East Coast as well, so there was like some time issues. So there were a couple hurdles that weren't on the radar that we definitely will follow up on.
And then I'd love to hear more like what your perception around the bond and like how you guys want to be involved in that.
We haven't talked like a ton about that, but I think just like hoping get more support for like especially the middle school and just like learning more about it. Like if you guys ever wanted to come in and talk about it, we'd totally be open to learn more about it and just get more involved with you guys as a whole.
I love it.
I was really happy to see that bond support up there too, because honestly, it's gonna take students like you talking to your friends, your family, getting it out in the community, because you guys are the voices. You use the facilities. They need to know they're not acceptable, and they need to know they need to support it to get that up there for you guys.
Yeah.
And grandparents, talk to your grandparents.
Sophie, can you talk to me a little bit about the parking lot issues? We had a report a couple of years ago about just general traffic patterns not being very safe. Cars playing bumper cars out there.
Yeah.
Is this the same issue continuing, or is this something different?
That's part of it. So we recently sent out a feedback form, and it was like, what can we change within our school? How can leadership fix it? A bunch of stuff like that. And one of the issues that was brought up was the parking lot. And I've heard multiple things. One of them was like speeding in the parking lot, which I think has gotten a little bit better. But another big one that I saw on there was drugs in the parking lot, which I haven't personally seen or experienced, but there was a couple on there, so it was just an issue that was brought up.
And is there a reason the back parking lot is more of a problem than the rest of the parking lot?
I think just kids kind of just like go back there. They just kind of go in groups, and I don't know.
And that's a long history.
Yeah, I park in the front, so.
The students take visibility thing.
Yeah.
So that would be one thing we'll look at, and again, as we're in the long range facilities planning process, but we've looked a couple times at whether we could get cameras back there, and one of the issues was around electricity. So it might be good to revisit that idea to see what those barriers are and if we can pull that off even without a bond.
We're talking back in high school.
You got me excited when you said tennis courts and electricity over there.
You can look at those sports broadcasters on it, and every time anybody does something stupid on the camera, they yell at it.
So, first and foremost, thank you
Yeah.
so taking time. And this will be something.
Okay, thank you.
We're gonna try, we have it scheduled, I believe it's every Thursday before a board meeting, the week before, we'll go and meet, and we're having them connect with their friends too. So we're finding ways to get voices outside of just leadership, but we've got a good start and a good system in place.
I would encourage you, outside of that, in addition to that, I would encourage you to follow through with this. To have a special session when we get ready to set budget priorities, which would probably be around January, February timeframe. Anna would be really involved in that too, and just get some student input as to where we ought to put more emphasis in the budget in terms of supporting students. That would be very helpful at budget time, and we don't get a lot of feedback, to be honest.
Okay.
I'll have one more. What do you know about the newspaper club?
Newspaper club, there was a lot of interest like on the forum. That was the thing a couple people said. I think with like sports and now that we have the broadcasting club, more people are like, we want our sports to be like put out there and like, I don't know, I just think kids are more interested in like writing and learning about what's going on in our school. It'd probably be pretty easy to set up too.
I would imagine so. I think there's a few crossovers there that might help a lot of your goals. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Sophie?
Thank you, Sophie. We appreciate you being
Thank you guys. Yeah.
in every night that you thank.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Chelsea? Second. Kevin? Let's proceed to a vote. Jen?
Yes.
Kevin? Yes. Chelsea?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Approved. Finance report. Anna? Oh, yeah.
It takes a second to go through all the paper to get to the section, so. When you're ready. So the first topic is the monthly finance report. Really, the only big difference on this that I want to show you on page 3 is that I added an estimate for federal forest fee revenue. The website for the federal forest fees really doesn't have anything as far as information about what we will receive for forest fees, but we know we will receive something. So I just put an estimate in there that was 75% of the last time we received forest fees. And then the next thing of interest on the finance report is on page 10. This is not normally in your finance report. And it has to do with PERS rates. In December of each year, or at the end of December, January-ish, the PERS organization gives us an update. They give us either the update of what are the next PERS rates going to be, or what do we estimate the next PERS rates are going to be. And that's depending upon whether it's an even year or an odd year, because the PERS rates are set for a 2-year period. Right now, we're in a place where they're giving us an estimate for what the next PERS rates are going to be. And you can see in the yellow highlights, our current rates are 20.28 and 17.10 for the 2 categories that we have. They are projected to go up to 29.34 and 26.63, which are significant numbers. So down at the bottom, I've got some just kind of some numbers there to turn that into what does that mean for us. And bottom line is, it's about a $1.3 million annual increase. And that is based on today's numbers. So that would be no step increases, no COLAs, no increases at all. In today's numbers, it's an extra $1.3 million in cost. All of the numbers that are given to us are based on information through December of 2024. One of the biggest impacts on these rates is how did the PERS system do with financial investments? And 2024 was not good. 2025 was better. So, and those final rates have not been posted yet as far when I created this report. So I'm hoping that once the 2025 investment returns get in there, these numbers won't look as bad. I don't think they're going to ever get good, but hopefully not as bad as this. So bottom line, we need to expect an increase in PERS cost in 2027.
You know, this might be a stupid question, but it's like, I just don't understand when the stock market performs so well. 2025. Why are you laughing?
Because you're right.
It's obvious.
It's a 20% increase and yeah.
Like, how, like,
That's not a question for me.
okay.
I don't wanna have to feel like I'm justifying or answering to something that I may or may not.
Yeah, no, that's fair, and I don't, my intent is not to put you on the spot for something that you're not responsible for, I just.
Yeah, it's a valid question.
The laugh was because you pointed out something everybody thinks.
Just a little clarity, I believe this is what you told me the other day when we met, was that we've got about a third of our employees in the tier 1, tier 2, and about 2/3 in that ops or general.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
third will have to increase their pension by a third and or 2/3 by a quarter, more or less, with those numbers.
Do these percentages include? I know the state employees now have. They reduced how much of the burden was on the employer by giving them a 6% salary increase. And then that 6% was immediately put into their PERS. Does that include that or is that?
There's an additional 6% on top of this.
Okay.
That's an employer cost. Plus, we have the debt. The debt is a very complicated topic, but right now we're paying debt that the idea behind it was to reduce our PERS rates. And so you're paying more in principal and interest, but then you're paying less in your PERS rates. Over time, that has saved us about $15 million. So it has worked out really well. But when the debt goes away, the savings go away too. And so that's why some of this jump is happening, but also we're gonna have that debt is gonna go away. So, but the net effect of that is still $1.3 million of an increase. If we didn't have that debt going away, it'd be 2.5 million.
And why are we seeing these really low numbers in the healthcare, retiree healthcare? Is that because they haven't come in yet, or with healthcare costs doing what they're doing, there's no way that's a 0%.
I think that's overfunded. And so it's just that we're not having to pay into it.
Okay.
There have been years where we did have to pay. It's been a really small number. I think it's the number of people and the cost that's involved in that spread over the entire system just makes it very small.
Well, what other good news do you have for us?
Okay.
We'll move on to the audit.
All right, should we move on to the audit report? The audit report is good. Every year we contract with an outside firm for our annual audit report. And so this is our audit report for 24-25. And they found no issues or problems, which is normal for us, but not necessarily for everyone. If they did find minor issues, they would bring it to our attention and by our, I mean to my attention and the superintendent level. If they find major issues, they would bring it to the attention of the board. The report itself looks like this. And I offered to the school board that if you want a paper copy, I would give one to you, and I've had no takers. They are available online. But I went ahead and printed out a couple of specific pages out of here just to bring some things to your attention. And I put those on in front of you on blue and yellow paper. I just want to go over a couple of things on here. So the first one is the blue, and there's two pages to this. One's a balance sheet, one's an income statement. This matches our internal financial system. So what's really on our books is on this blue piece of paper. Then we also have to convert this to what would it look like if we were not a school district and we had the same type of financial report that the rest of the world has. That's what the yellow is. So in a school district, we don't have capital assets, fixed assets. We don't book our liabilities and everything on our regular financial statements. So on the yellow, that's where we have to book all of those future liabilities and all of our capital assets and all of the things that you would see on a regular financial statement. So we have a lot of obligations on here that are PERS related. And they go out for 20 years. So basically what's happening is we have to put on our books a 20-year liability as a payable on here. Those liabilities will be paid for with tax revenue of different kinds, but we don't get to book a receivable for 20 years of taxes that will, or
Only the
any kind
liability of it.
Yes, we have to book the liability piece, but we don't get to book the receivable.
And that's the 31 million line. 31.6.
That's multiple things on here. The deferred inflows of 7.4 million offset by the 16 million deferred outflows. Plus the bonds payable, plus the compensated absences, the net pension liability of 29 million. So that's why down at the bottom, you see a big negative $6 million. It makes it look like we have negative $6.4 million. But we really have what's on the blue piece of paper.
Why do we have to do this?
The idea behind it is so that if an investor wanted to look at our books and compare them to somebody who was in a school district, theoretically, it would look the same. We would have the same kinds of liabilities and the same different things on there. But after having over the past 10 years or so, they've made it to where we have to add all these big liabilities on there. I don't know how
like
helpful.
any other sheet would still have the revenue too. Like I don't know anybody else's statement that would ask for all the liability.
I don't know. Yeah, it's GASB, governmental accounting. All the school districts are dealing with this. All of the, probably all the municipalities and all the governmental agencies. That's why I just want to make sure that our school board knows the blue piece of paper is the actual, this is what is, these are our fund balances that we have right now. And that's really all I had to point out to you on the financial report, but I could open it up to questions or it's policy and law requires the school board to approve, not adopt or.
So just clarifying your statement earlier, so we have 16 million in deferred outflow posted here, which is what we're gonna owe in the future. And then if you just take last year's property taxes and other receivables, which was 2.67, and you multiply by that by 20, that ought to be down here on the revenue line, plus 3% each year that you would increase, plus the value of growth, all that's omitted, which is how you get to that big negative, because if you plug that number in there, you'd have a giant positive.
Yeah, you'd have a big receivable up in your assets.
So wouldn't gap accounting do that?
I don't know that gap accounting would allow you to record 20 years in the future of revenue. I've never seen that. It's most organizations don't have
like taxes as a revenue.
Yeah, revenue that's that taxes are really guaranteed, but they're reliable. So that would really be out of the ordinary as well.
So the motion that's recommended is a motion to approve the audited financial report for fiscal year 24-25. Would one like to make that motion?
I move to approve the audited financial report for fiscal year 2024-2025.
Thank you, Kevin. Is there a second?
Second.
I second.
Okay.
I didn't wait for
Eric beat you to it, Jen.
It's okay.
We'll vote. Jen,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yeah.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Eric,
yes.
chair votes yes. Unanimous passed. Okay. Continuing on to the budget committee appointments.
For the budget committee, we have two budget committee positions open, position number 6 and position number 9. We happen to have 2 budget committee applications presented to you, so I will leave that to the board to discuss and make decision.
Looks like we have Jennifer Fields and Jonathan Lent applying to be on the committee. They're a motion to appoint them or other thoughts on that, or what do you want to do?
Jennifer's been on there for a while.
Yep.
Has she not?
I've seen Jonathan's name before
He's
also.
been on it as well, or at least he's partaken in activities.
He was on the budget committee last year. He filled an opening that had 1 year left.
So do we know what the terms on these are?
3 years.
3 years?
They're both the same.
So a motion would look like I move to appoint Glennifer Fields and Jonathan Lent to terms of 3 years apiece.
Does it matter which position we motion to appoint them to? Because there's 6 and 9. Don't they?
Somebody has to decide who's in position 6 and who's in position 9, so it makes most.
Your motion, or Tammy can stick them in there.
I just wasn't sure if there was a geographic area like.
No.
Okay,
No, it doesn't matter which one.
then I'll move to appoint Glennifer Fields to Budget Committee position 6 and Jonathan Lent to Budget Committee position number 9.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you.
There you go.
Jen, you gotta be faster.
It's like Jeopardy.
Having this that.
Eventually, the way.
Okay, any other debate? We'll vote, Jen,
Yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
Kelsey?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Sarah votes yes, appointed. English language programs, financial information.
This is just informational. It's very similar to the reports that I gave you earlier this year. One was about special education. One was about supporting students navigating poverty. And this is just related to, English language programs. And so really, it's just for the board to, review and, become familiar with English language. There's information about how those students bring in additional funding and how much the district spends to support those students. And the district spends more on those services than the additional revenue that comes in. And so I think that's just a good thing to know. Other than that, just peruse it and then let me know if you have any questions tonight or any time in the future.
I think historically, and it's just worth noting that this formula with these extra weightings here for students in EL or poverty or pregnancy or any other thing we count has long been a point of contention within the unions, within the legislature, and within OSBA. It gets fought about all the time. Every time I've sat on more committees I can think of at the state level to try and reorganize this formula. And the problem with reorganizing it is that nobody agrees on a better formula. So we keep sticking with this one. So someday you may run into a discussion and opportunity to have an opinion, which will be one of 100, about how we could do this better. But until then, keep doing it this way. Well, most people agree this does not really reflect the actual burden that these particular populations generate in terms of finances. But we don't have a better way to do it. Okay, moving on to the resolution on appropriations. And transfers.
Okay, this is resolution 03-2025-2026. This is a request to have the board change our budget. This is it shows Fund 100, but it's actually going to be an entry that we make in Fund 192, which is our maintenance fund that rolls up under Fund 100, and that's why it's shown as 100 on here. This is not a request to increase the budget at all. It's just a change between two categories. So when we build the budget for the maintenance reserve, we're never really exactly sure whether we're going to need more in the 2,000 function or the 4,000 function. Those two functions are very similar in the maintenance reserve. One of them means facilities and the other one means facilities. So when we go to, it's more nuanced than that, but that's why it's just hard to know when we're budgeting which one we're gonna need. And generally, when we need to make an adjustment with that, our board has not had an issue with it. And so basically what we're doing is just requesting that we move 500,000 from the 4,000 to the 2,000. The reason we have more in the 4,000 is because the year before we had spent more in the 4,000 function. So that's what this resolution does, is it allows us to just change the budget so that Leland can do the projects that he needs to do now. And we can stay within our budget, legal budget authority.
just clarifying, this is a routine resolution. We'll probably see more of these before the end of the year. We usually see 3 or 4 of these along.
We really like to be nimble and not have red tape keeping us from doing the things that we need to be doing. And so when we build the budget, we build some flexibility in there, and then sometimes we just need to come to the board and say, things have changed, or we just need to make some adjustments here. So yes, try not to have them every month, but 2 or 3 a year is fairly normal.
So this one does require board action. Are there any other questions about it?
Nope.
Is there a motion to approve resolution 03/2025-26?
I move to approve 03/2025, 2026.
Chelsea, is there a second? Jen, would you like to second this?
Love to, thank you.
Hey, we got
I
you on
second it.
10 seconds. Any other discussion? Okay, we'll vote. Jen,
Yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
Kelsey?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
And chair votes yes, passes unanimously. Thank you, Anna, as always, wonderful report.
Thank you.
Officer Kaufman.
As Leland and Officer Kaufman come to the table, once a year, usually around this time, we provide the board with just an annual school safety report. As they get settled, I'm gonna go through real quickly the 4 pillars of school safety, because a lot of people think school safety is barbed wire, metal detectors, and that is, it could be, I mean, that plays an important part, but there's a lot more to it. So the first pillar all starts with prevention and culture. Bree will present later on the clubs and getting students connected. And we've looked a lot at those students that are connected in our schools are a lot less likely to have any kind of vulnerable behaviors. So prevention and safety. Another piece is mental health and student support. This district has invested in increasing the number of counselors significantly over the last 10 years or so, and providing students in need support. Then you get to the actual facilities, and then finally preparedness and training. So I'll talk real quick about the prevention and culture. We've invested heavily in Crook County, we call them Connect Clubs. I think we're around $250,000 budgeted so that students can start their own clubs. You saw the case in point earlier with our broadcast club, where we have a system in place where if any student wants to start a club, we have a funding system right off the bat where the staff members' salaries are accounted for, the supplies. So really looking at those Connect Clubs. We've also committed to not having fees for athletics. That was a big barrier for a lot of students down the road. So years ago, we made fees completely free. We're continuing to look at our performing arts and ways to increase that. There's rumor that the district's looking to add a potential marching band. So we're starting to get that going to get more kids involved. And then you've heard before about the CC Way, which is the 612 anti-bullying campaign, as well as our Kindness is Cool K-5 anti-bullying campaign. On the mental health and student support sides, we have 9 licensed counselors. It's wild to think that even, I want to say it was 5 years ago, we didn't have elementary counselors at all our schools. So we've grown a lot when increasing up to 9 counselors. At a number of our schools, we have anonymous reporting systems where if any student is experiencing anything, I know at the middle school, they can just click a button on their Chromebook. No one needs to go down to the office and snitch. So we put in those anonymous reporting systems, as well as Bree's actually leading our counseling team at looking at a social skills curriculum so that students through K-12 are getting experience on what it looks like for respect and empathy and how do we treat others the way we want to be treated. So that's underway. For our next facility security, I'm going to turn it over to Leland Bliss and Officer Jeff Kaufman.
All right, so under the secure entries that we have in the schools, all of the schools, with the exception of Powell Butte in the local town areas, secure decibels in them currently have that. Brothers does not. Brothers probably does not need one because of the way it's just the way that building is. We've really secured the outside area of that particular campus. The other one would be Paulina, and we don't have anything in Paulina, but we do have what we call an AI phone, which is an intercom system that sits outside the door. So nobody can get into that building unless they are buzzed in from the outside. We're currently working, in fact, I'm meeting with an architect this week. I've met with one already about ways to enclose that vestibule at Pal Butte. We think we have a solution for that, so we can actually create one inside the building. And we'll kind of keep you guys up to speed on how that goes. We recently put new window glass in all of the vestibules, so we have either ballistic film on all those windows or attack glass. Anything new that we put in it'll have either ballistic film or attack glass in it. Everything will. We'll also keep looking at areas if we see there's areas where we think there's something where we need to add that. We have a really good contractor that we used last time that we would look at using again for that. Cameras and access controls, I've worked a lot with Eric. We talk about cameras and access controls a lot. Eric and I actually have, a couple months ago, we sat down and actually kind of planned out a lot of access control stuff. Ideally, the best thing to do would be to get rid of all the metal keys for the district for exterior doors and make everything card access, so we can always tell who's coming in and out of the building. And you don't run the risk of lost keys. If somebody loses a badge, they just report it and we turn it off. SROs, so I'm actually going to let Officer Kaufman talk about our SRO program that we currently have.
So, thanks to the partnership between the school district and the police department, we currently have 3 SROs. We have my position, which is at the elementaries. I'm best suited for that because I also teach the DARE program, and that's why I've been stationed at the elementary level. We have Officer Richard Guffey. He is at the middle school. He services the middle school and Grizzly Mountain Homelink. And then we have Officer Dunn at the high school, and he services the high school and Pioneer. As far as I can tell you that our kids are fantastic. I attend a lot of SRO meetings from SROs all over the state of Oregon, and I hear some of the horror stories of what's going on in other parts of the state. And I can tell you that the relationships that we have, us SROs and the kids here, are fantastic. I don't know of any other places I've not heard where you walk into like either Pioneer or the high school and the kids are automatically dive bombing you for stickers the moment you walk in the door. Occasionally kids will have lunch out in the parking lot. There have been times when they've had barbecues and stuff out there and they invite us over to eat with them. So the relationships that we have here are really good. We have a ton of support from the staff as well. It's just an amazing relationship between the department and the staff. So we're very blessed in that regard.
We always evaluate anything that we have. Like if we have an incident, we try and do a debrief every time we have those. We try and always look for what kind of things could we do better. We also do that with our training. So if we have like an interactive training where like a lockdown training or secure, after that, we usually follow up all the administrators, myself, if I'm available to be there, and the SROs that are there, we'll actually debrief that and look at what kind of things could we do better in the future. For preparedness and training. So Officer Kaufman already talked about 3 SROs being funded, and the SROs are really good about always being involved in the trainings. When I do trainings, they're always, if they're available, they're always there to try and be there. When we have when we can all get together, we try to do like monthly meetings so that I have a meeting with all 3 of the SROs and we can all just talk about whatever kind of things they've seen or things that we can do to get better on. When it comes to our training, we exceed the state required trainings. So the ORS that talks, which is 336.071, it talks about what is required for trainings for school districts when it comes to safety. It requires us to have 2 emergency drills per month. I just tell the administrators, plan on doing at least 3. They usually will do like 2 to 3 lockdown drills and a couple of secure. So they're probably doing 3 to 5 versus 2. So we do a lot more training than a lot of people would do. The other thing that we do is when we do our trainings, I really encourage the administrators to let us do something interactive. So we'll come over and present a scenario to them. So they're not just pushing the button on the phone that says lockdown. Everybody does their same old thing that they've been doing for years. Now we give the office staff a scenario. So if this happened, how would you deal with that? And then we'll do it at walkthrough speed so that they can ask questions as we go through it. The last one we did at the high school I felt it was really, really good. The office staff felt good about it. Um, it was a unruly parent and things kind of got out of hand and we talked through everything and they all learned where to go. And we're doing another one there this week. I don't know what the scenario is going to be yet. I need to talk to Jake about what he wants to do, and then the other thing that we do with trainings is we go by the standard response protocol. And every year I do those trainings face to face with all staff so that they don't get it in a on an online version or something like that. We actually all get together and have online a face to face training. And I usually get a ton of questions about what ifs, and hopefully I can always answer those. SROs have always been involved in those when I do them too.
Yeah, and that's something else I want to say is thank you to Leland and to Joel and Eric. Every time I come up with a concern, these guys address it immediately, or they hop right on it, or they start doing research into things. And the admins in all of the different schools, very supportive. Everything that's security concern, like such as if doors are being propped open, if we have an area where there might be a concern of somebody wandering on the campus, all of those things are immediately addressed. So I really appreciate that working with everybody making things happen. So, and we've come a long ways in the district as far as where we used to be in security, where just about anybody could walk in and we wouldn't know that they were in the building until they were out in the hallway, to now absolutely got to have permission to come through the door, which is we have a number one asset, protect our kids, and that's what it's all about.
I think to if I wasn't married to Sean, I think I would have no idea how much you guys do as far as partnering with people on mental health and just really, really tough student situations. And so and just the professionalism that I hear from your team is just outstanding. And I always feel like when I send my family off, I mean, I'm putting my family in your guys' hands, and I just want to say thank you for keeping them safe.
Thank you. It's a team effort, and it's a family effort is what it is, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Other questions? I've got something for you, going back to the holistic films you put on the vestibules. Is it just in the vestibules or is it exterior windows?
So I won't talk about exactly where it's at because that would actually give somebody an advantage on a shot.
Is there a plan to get it completely at some point?
On every exterior window?
Yeah, or is that like a fire issue?
It would cost a lot of money to do it. It's very expensive. But there are some windows that have been mentioned as to whether or not we could do it. And it would be one of those kind of things where you'd probably just pick away at it a little bit at a time, try and keep the cost under prevailing wage, because you could easily spend $1 million doing everything.
Yeah, the earlier, the high school parking lot was brought up as an area of concern for the kids. And it's been a huge area of concern for me as well. I spend a lot of time out there, sort of the other SROs. But we have made some changes out in the parking lot. We've put up stop signs and speed signs. And the kids, for the most part, usually when there's a police car around, are paying attention to those things. But the kids are receptive when you stop them and talk to them and say, hey, that was too fast. Hey, you need to come to a stop. Hey, you need to pay more attention. So I think that we're getting there slowly over time. It's just it's just watching it and showing the kids that we're paying attention. So and then high school staff, I always see high school staff out in the parking lots, whether it's Jake or Rob or, they're always out there. So that's helpful.
I have two things for you. The first one would be, I remember distinctly having you stand here and us recognize you for your retirement. How's that? Are you failing at retirement? John?
I got an F in retirement. I did.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
The other one, a little more serious vein, a lot more serious vein. I've mentioned here before my experience with my daughter going through the shooting at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. And what happened in that event was, as soon as it was announced over text by the university there was an active shooter on campus, the professor dived under his desk and provided no guidance and did nothing for the next 8 hours. My daughter and her classmates, because of the training, we talked about training and preparedness here, that they had all received in schools, knew what to do without any guidance from a supervisor. And they immediately turned off the lights and shut the curtains and shoved the furniture up against the door and pooled everything they had in their possession to see who had a weapon and made a plan for what they would do if approached. And it was horrible to hear about and go through with her as a parent, but they knew what to do and they didn't need anybody to tell them. And I just would thank Crook County because Crook County School District provided that. And I questioned many times whether this was good for kids' mental health that we had to go through this, but when it mattered a lot. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. And I mean, it's a partnership. It really is. Like I said, everything that I've ever said about, we need to look at this or we need to look at that. He's been a great partner in making sure that that happens. And Joel and the board has always been very supportive. So it's thank you to everybody. We're all on the same sheet of music and that makes a difference.
And I think Jeff's committed to 2 more years too.
Yeah.
We're close.
So he's gonna try failure again.
Yeah. Couple times.
Well, I pick up my granddaughter every day and I see Jeff out a lot. And I mean, the other thing is you make the kids feel really comfortable.
Yeah.
I mean, they talk about you, they talk at my house, Officer Kaufman, and that you make them feel comfortable. And I think that's really important. And to the staff at Crooked, it just drives me nuts when we have to go through this kind of thing these days, shooting drills. But then I think back and I had to go through nuclear bomb drills where we jumped under a desk, like that was kind of.
Yeah.
But the fact is the kids they take it serious, but they're not scared. They know that it's a serious thing, but they're not scared. And that's to you guys and the staff to help them get through that type of thing, know what to do. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Let me do a quick check-in with Jen while we reset here. Jen, are you following along? Is everything working for you logistically?
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, jump in at any time. All right, we're at the Building Bridges and Academic Excellence Committee report.
Yeah, this past July, the board created 3 committees. Those committees have all met and now you each serve on a various combination. So this is just an update to the board by policy on what's happening in those committees. So first off, the Academic Excellence Opportunity and Support, which I believe is chaired by Eric Osborne and vice chaired by Kelsey. So our key actions that we've talked about, one of matching our CT offerings, certifications to the current job market demands in the region. We've talked a lot about increasing parent involvement, particularly at the secondary level around how do we get our families to come for informational nights? And potentially one of the coolest ideas I heard was, man, maybe we have a senior parent or a parent who's had a graduate who's just gone through it, mentor a parent of a junior who's just starting going through it. So that way we're building those partnerships. We've had Amber McLeod is putting together an IA curriculum training. We've, I think, quadrupled the amount of trainings we provide in our classified staff than we ever have. And they've asked for more in a good way. They want to make sure they're experts on the curriculum they're teaching. We've looked at, and this actually came from the board, adding additional AP classes. That AP biology class is getting added, and we're looking at what other capacity we have in other AP classes. This board, we've talked about focusing on those yellow zone students, those students that are right below proficiency and giving them a lot of support and intervention. You'll see on the dashboard, we've talked about how do we disaggregate the data by school and then also by SPED category, so that way we're diving into what's working.
SPED is special education.
Special education, yes, thank you. And then a request, we've got some teachers on the committee, they've asked for more time to analyze their data and reflect on their data and adjust their instruction. And then finally, this is something that I think we've actually improved a lot on over the years, but how do we continue to communicate the dual credit options and AP options, so it's not just staff or students that are in the know, but all students are in the lead. On the Building Bridges Committee, Kelsey, I believe you guys swap on this. So Kelsey is the chair, Eric is the vice chair. Our key items, strengthening classroom to home communication. And I think this one is spot on, where we have some parents on these committees and some staff. And we've talked about communication from teachers to families, not just on, hey, we're having a field trip or we're carving pumpkins, but communication also on how's my individual kid doing in school? How is their reading level? So that way parents can support at home. That was a big thing we heard from families. Not waiting until conference to access academic information. And then finally, equipping parents with the knowledge around their iReady and potential DIMBLES reports. We'll see, and Bree will touch base on this. This idea of how do we develop strategies to increase parent involvement at secondary conferences. We see, if you think of a graph, you'd have a linear line going straight down from K-12 kindergartens, about 100% families attend, to seniors, we're definitely single digits. So how do we get more families engaged to the secondary level? And then finally, this is one of my favorite ones. How do we increase the district's visibility at community events? And I think Bree's going to share later. There are some awesome ideas. I'll hold off on that, but lots of great ideas on how the district can get out there and be positive in the community. And then finally, this overall theme of meeting parents where we're at. We always expect them to come to us, come to our schools. How do we do a better job getting out in the community? Did I miss anything, Kelsey or Eric?
The only thing I would add is just a special thanks to any of the parents who came, because I learned so much from that perspective. So thanks to people who, come up and spend the time.
Eric, I can't think of anything other than emphasizing that academic progress being readily available is one of the
Especially
biggest
for fifth graders. I
Yeah.
think that's where.
That's the report. It's the same slides, but 7.3 actually being.
Please stay on academics for a minute. I would want to make a suggestion for a topic for the Academic Excellence Committee. I have talked to numerous students recently, former students of Crook School District, who weren't initially on the college path, but then decided later to go back into the college path. These are students who often took our dual credit classes, but didn't know at the time that they needed to pay the $100 fee in order to get the credit, or didn't have the parental support to help them access that. They went through, they did the work, they got the grades, they took the classes, but now they're shut out of that amazing opportunity that we offer for kids to get like 30 credits going into college and reduce their college going costs. If we had a system where we could look back, say 5 years, see that they took it, let them pay the fee, maybe even with a penalty retroactively, and credential them after the fact, we could help them complete their college educations faster and be able to get those credits that they richly deserved had they paid the fee at the time. Which, by the way, was the time we weren't doing a very good job of communicating what the fee was. So if the universities won't like it because they like to just close the books and be done, but that doesn't mean they can't do it. If we could do that, we could really help our kids after the fact, some of those kids that are on the margin and on the bubble, and help them reduce their costs as well as make their education meaningful, especially now that we've finally maybe gotten the transcripts updated and we understand where those credits came from. Just a suggestion for something you might look at. I've talked to at least 3 students in the last 6 months who are facing that problem.
We definitely can explore that. And like you said, we've done a fantastic job over the last, I want to say just 2 years of better tracking those college credits. So we'll get started on it.
So just a thought for the committee. I miss being on that committee, but I want another committee.
You got kicked off.
And I think the policy committee, I don't think I traded up. Okay, long range facilities committee.
So just a quick update on the progress that we're making with the Long Range Facilities Committee. So we've had 2 meetings. The meetings are like super positive. We've had, I think, about 30 people, at both of the 2 meetings. We've been giving them some the entire committee, some exercises to do, and we've actually gotten some really good data back from that. That's stuff that we could use later on to possibly build a bond off of. We've got two meetings left, and we should be still on track to bring a proposal to the board at the April meeting. I think, is that right? Is that what I said?
Question.
Okay.
What would be the feasibility of, I don't know what class I'd be a part of, Bree, you can help me out with this, but Sophie was talking about the kids wanting to be involved with the bond, but it just feels like, could we help give the high schoolers credit of like learning to be part of a political process of like, if you want to put something on a ballot, here's the steps that you would take, and here's what this could look like, and I mean, it just would be like such a cool way to give students like a constructive way to be part of a political and legislative process. And especially if they get credit for it too, like.
Yeah, I think we could do 4 options. We're gonna go back, and Leo will be with us, so we'll go talk to that group again, Friday and gauge interest if there's some that really want to commit. And based off our conversation last week, I think there will be. Then we can work with the high school to figure out what details or what that exactly looks like.
Sophie, did you get that?
Well, it wouldn't be too late to invite them to our last 2 meetings.
Yeah, for sure.
And let them
Mhm.
just experience that part of it.
Sophie's-
And meet for the public.
Sophie's already put in her time, but I
Sophie, took one for the team.
Well, there was really good information, the packets that came out, and to get you up to speed on like, here are the issues with each school and the costs, and you could bring that back, that might help. Again, we talked about, informing parents and grandparents but rather than just saying, gosh, the middle school's in a mess. You'd have a whole packet that you could say, well, here, look, these are the issues that.
And it's just like, which one of us in a jobs are not having to deal with getting something approved through a budget, right? Like, that's just such a core competency.
Yeah.
In the working world to.
Well, I love your idea about the students, because I've said this, I want to say last month. In my 13 or 14 years here, I've never seen our students so actively engaged and the district wanting to engage with them. So I think, again, we want to capitalize on this opportunity where students want to share their insight. We want to hear their insight. So I think it's a good opportunity to make things work.
Sorry, we're going to.
It's okay.
Hijack that. Okay.
Else?
Any questions for me?
You're doing good work.
Thanks.
Take that billion and cut it down to 50. Okay, the board goals and strategic planning report, Bree.
Good evening, you guys. Joel's giving me his computer, so that's really exciting. Well, I'm gonna do my best to keep it as efficient and effective as possible. No, I you will want your board goals in front of you, or your dashboard in front of you. So back in July, we came together and you guys set 37 goals, which I've got to say, they have grounded our work this year and it has felt so good. There's many of these that you feel like you're looking at the district from like a outward lens, and then some where you get to really zoom in and see specific areas where we're doing some really amazing things. So I first have to say that I'm so proud of our principals, of our teachers, of our classified staff, of everyone that comes together to make all these things happen. And thank you to you guys as a board for setting these goals to keep us grounded in this work, because it really has guided our whole school year. So to get us started, I'm calling this a walk through the board goals, because we don't want to run, but it's gonna take some time for a bit. And the first, I think of the yellow buckets as being a little bit of an uphill climb, and then we head down. So I'll walk through the board goals. Here we go. The first stop is gonna be in the classrooms, and you'll see that the first page is specifically tied to elementary. So here, the process we're gonna go through to look at each of these areas is to first hit on the red light, green light, yellow lights, which this is a practice that Joel and I have been doing all year of looking at each board goal and kind of rating where we're at. So this is a good first trimester, here's where we're at. So just to look at this first box within elementary, student achievement, this one is yellow, and I feel this one will remain yellow until our scores are well above state averages and our students are the very best in state. That's the high expectations we set for our students, and we do believe that we can reach those over time. A couple of these you guys have had recent reports on, so I'll say that the AI committee, personal finance, you've gotten updates on those, but if you have questions, feel free to ask. And then achievement gaps, we'll talk about those as we go through the data as well. And then finally, those curriculum adoptions. At the very end of this, I'll go through for each of these sections, we'll talk about next steps. And with that one, I have those dates on the slide. We really want to walk away from today with, here's what we're doing moving forward, and then what more do you want us to be doing to address these goals? So first thing we'll look at is this iReady box here at the beginning. And this is, at first hand, you think, oh my goodness, we have a lot of kids below grade level, but we have to remember that this was their fall benchmark taken in September. So they were being measured against their current grade level. So we'd expect them to be a grade level below at that time. Students are currently taking their winter benchmark now. So when I come back and report on this in April, we should see some really different numbers there. Then moving forward to the statewide assessment, you all have received an update on OSAS. I believe that was in October. This area I thought would be nice to look at the differences between boys and girls. Particularly at the elementary level, we see over time, girls improving more than boys at ELA and boys improving more than girls at math.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, go.
Where is that? Oh, okay.
Yep, just to the right where you see those big numbers. Yep. But don't be afraid to ask questions. And some of this is like when you do the research on this, that it's apparent that tends to happen. What I see influencing it is perhaps just making sure that we're giving opportunities for our boys to engage in reading and start to love reading, for our girls to engage in math. And so we want to make sure that we're readily bringing those opportunities in front of students. Next, we'll slide down to the OSAS ELA proficiency by school. Those bar graphs below the iReady. So Eric, at that academic committee meeting, we brought forward the school report cards, and you're like, oh, I'd love to see this by school. So we were like, well, let's make a graph of that, because it shows us some really interesting things. And we know that Crooked River had some really tremendous growth this past year. So we've done, I want to say 3 meetings with Crooked River, digging into their data and what's the why behind this. And some of the big themes we were able to take away that we're going to work with other schools on is really that they have a culture of trust and follow through with systems highly embedded in students doing homework, families knowing Kevin, you're not, and you know the homework. And teachers knowing their expectations, students knowing their expectations, and families supporting that. They also give a lot of credit to iReady, and that iReady is really influential in improving OSAS scores. So they've invested a lot in their iReady programs. And as well as looking at that data, the iReady data, particularly with students and staff. Students even track their data, and I just love that about Crooked River.
One quick question,
Mm-hmm.
because I got the joy of being at Crooked River on, was it Friday? But one thing that was super interesting to me, I was looking at all the teachers, is like there's a lot of male teachers at Crooked River. And I just be interested to dig into like what is the engagement? Like, are you still seeing this, 5th grade slump in boys at Crooked River? as you are in other, just assuming that there are more male teachers that for,
Yeah.
as a mom of feral boys, like, it's just, it makes a difference. So I just, yeah, think it's worth looking at.
Yeah, we can look into that further. I love it. Any other questions on the school by school comparison? Okay, moving forward. The next is the elementary writing proficiency assessments. So this is their, again, fall baseline data. We expect to see growth across the year, and each grade level does this throughout the district. So that's that data presented there.
So on that one, the overall trend line from first grade to fifth is a downward decline. Is that, I mean, we're down in the fifth grade, we've only got a third of our kids performing at standard. Is that because our kids are struggling to write, or is that something in the assessment instrument? We've seen this before. At one point, I thought we had turned the curve on this, but it looks like maybe we went back to the traditional pattern. And then the assessment system was really messy. So,
Yeah, is this a good assessment?
So this is the state rubric that they're using. So it would be worthwhile to dig into that. You'll see when we flip to secondary that'll talk about the writing assessments district-wide. We kind of weren't paying attention to these for a little bit, and I'm really glad we've come back to it, because throughout this whole process, there's numerous aha moments of like, oh wow, we want to hone in on that and figure out what's going on there.
You'll see as one of the great practices. So we moved away for the last 2 years from having a dashboard and reporting regularly to the board for various reasons. And it's been so healthy to get back to this, because there's been things that are just like red flag of, whoa, writing reporting slipped away and writing consistency. So there's a few things as Bree kind of put this together that, if nothing else, were a catch of like, oh, even though we haven't done this in 2 years, we really got to focus on that area, and writing emerged as one of those big red flags.
So I'd be interested in two questions. Is it performance or is it assessment? If it's assessment, then what's a better assessment? Because you can't just say, well, you don't count the data because the assessment is bad, but then never know how your kids are actually doing.
Yeah. This would be the wit and wisdom end of mod assessment. So it's, they do the unit, and then there's a writing sample. It just seemed like.
So this isn't OSAS, this is.
No, this would be the fall writing end of mod at the K-5 level. And that's one thing that, like I said, because we were
terrifying.
Yeah, because the district wasn't asking for scores, it seemed like K-12, it just got kind of jumbled. So we're kind of looking to untangle that, but it definitely emerged as an area to focus on, because I think part of it is the assessment, and I think part of it is just lack of alignment from grade to grade on how they're assessing, and kind of that standard calibration. So if nothing else, even though the scores are low, it's a good notice that we need to focus back on writing.
Is it wit and wisdom that they're using in middle school for?
No.
What is
Study sync?
Study sync is the secondary one.
Curriculum.
So how far within the grades can we assess writing?
How
carried into middle school?
Oh, yeah, on the back page, you'll see
To be continued.
Yeah, to be
Now,
continued, sorry.
Mr. Cooper, this is a walk through the board goals, so we're.
Slow down.
You're running through the board goals, so
And I know you're going to sprint to a question there. So I think the really good news, though, is that this is first trimester data. We do expect a lot of growth across the school year, and we've got time to work on this. So
I'm sorry, I have
go.
one last question. So is this like, are we testing kids right as they're coming off the summer break?
So iReady.
Yeah.
So they come in September. So
Yeah,
iReady is in that first week. That writing is the end of mod, so they do a unit and then do the writing. So the
they come
writing's
back.
the writing's actually probably one I'm looking at, probably November.
So they've been in school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just gonna point out that the statewide assessment above that, where you said the girls trend better in ELA than the boys, and the boys trend better in math. It was almost like the boys were just failing a little less as they. It's still a drop, like it's a drastic drop still. The girls drop and they start it lower, but the boys are racing to meet them there, so.
Yeah. Yeah, and it gets more interesting too when we look at middle school, which we'll do in a minute. But I think the really positive thing though to know is that all of our, no matter what, boys or girls or their average, it's all above our state average. So that's encouraging. However, we really want those numbers to climb significantly. So shifting to as we went through this, as what we identified as some clear action items was to continue monitoring iReady to inform OSAS. We like using iReady. We want to keep digging into it. Replicating what worked, particularly at Crooked River across the district. Investigating more in math district-wide. We feel like math we've done a lot with literacy and we want to balance that with more math supports as well. And this one Joel had mentioned when he was giving the update on building bridges, but that communication that parents receive, the fun projects their kids are doing in class, and more comprehensive updates on their grades. Because when we think about, the difference between elementary and secondary is significant in that communication access. So we want parents to feel more involved in their kids' education. And then the last point that I'll make is those curriculum adoptions. So at the next board meeting, I will present to you about postponing our social studies curriculum adoption until next year. We want to give plenty of time for that process to unfold, for community feedback, all the things. But then looking forward from that, the next year we'll also have world languages, PE, and arts adoptions. And then the year following that is ELA. So we're going to be jumping into it soon, but this year, no adoptions. Any questions? Okay, the last thing I had to share with this, I was afraid I'd forget this, but this is the competition that they're doing at Crooked River and Barnes Butte with iReady. Now, what they have on those scales there are lessons passed by teachers. So all the teachers and students are in competitions to get the most lessons passed in iReady. And I hear that this competition is pretty serious, well received by students, and that the kids are having a lot of fun with it. So, and how beautiful are those posters? Shout out to our elementary teams, you guys. Okay, we made it through one short little section. So next we're looking at opportunities. So while we just had that conversation about the writing, I want to say that our elementaries have some amazing systems built in for some of their vertical alignment, curriculum mapping. I do think that there's so much work to be done there, though, I think always. So that one is yellow. CTE, we'll talk more about with secondary, obviously, but we are always looking for opportunities with our elementary students to engage in career technical education. And then career pathways, you all recently received a report on that. Advanced learning opportunities, as we move through this section of the dashboard, we'll talk a bit about TAG, and that will become apparent why that one's yellow. Post-secondary planning, again, this is something we spend a lot of time with secondary on, but we also want to be considering what opportunities we have at the elementary level. And then performing arts quality, you see the picture there was a highlight of Crooked River's performing arts assembly that they did, or performance they did, I should say. And it was amazing. We got to go around to a lot of the different elementary schools winter programs, and they were just fantastic. So that was really exciting to see. So this one's a little bit smaller than the last one, less graphs, but we'll jump into it. So the elementary schools have a lot of clubs that are going really strong. Kids love those clubs. I mentioned the horizontal and vertical alignment. There's a lot of great work that happens with our elementary teachers discussing their data that I feel really proud of for our teams. Their PLCs are strong. And then performing arts, you saw we just did those winter programs. There's more things upcoming that get more specific at each of the schools, so those are listed out there. And then really what I think we probably want to spend the most time talking about here is the advanced learning opportunities for our students, for TAG students particularly. When I ran these numbers, I found that 4% of our students in the district are identified as TAG. Typically, you'd like to see that number more so mimic the top 10%, like more around 8 to 10% is where we'd like to see that number. However, not only do we want to see more identification to give these students the services that they deserve, but also really authentic experience. So this year we've been evaluating that program more comprehensively. Amber's planning some great PDs for staff to get more well-versed in how to identify students. And then once they're identified, what are we doing to make sure that they're experiencing more out of their education as a tag student. Questions?
Can we go back to the club participation?
Yeah.
Where, with the middle school, high school, later in this presentation, you've got the percentage of students engaged. If you're reporting the number, could we switch that reporting to percentage?
For sure.
Because I think that's 250 out of about 1,500,
Mm-hmm.
which is a much lower percentage.
Yeah,
Because they don't caps.
Yeah.
Well, and the tricky thing is, we don't count elementary athletics, where if you've been to the high school on a Saturday in the fall, you've
So
got,
why not? It's engagement.
we could connect and get those
Mhm.
numbers from Parks and Rec. They just run it, and it would be really interesting to see, so we definitely switch that
I
up.
mean, it's a part of our student safety program, and student safety matters at every grade level.
For sure.
Yeah.
And when you get them connected at their elementary level, they're more likely to participate in connectedness and carry that on to middle and high. So, yeah.
That's great. Thank you. Okay. All right, so action items identified in this category would be to enhance those experiences for tag students. Continue investigating some more of those meaningful alignments for both vertical and horizontal alignment K-5. And then in talking with some of our elementary and English teachers, we identified some more needs for preparing students from 5th grade to 6th grade and what that might look like. We're digging deeper into. And then just determining strategies for growing performing arts in our K-5 schools, I think would be really important. So we're gonna be looking into that.
On the tag identification areas, what's the difference between tag ELA and tag reading?
ELA is gonna include writing, I guess. That's, yeah. There's just 2 categories listed.
Can you really be good in one without being good in the other?
Perhaps you could be, who knows? Yeah, if we could look more into that. Okay.
Probably reflects the same you get for ELA up top and writing proficiency.
Mhm. Okay. Moving forward to support. These grade level transitions is something that we feel our summer school has been a highlight of supporting. We talked about that, as we started the school year, and I think that still stands out, as well as some of the preparation we do in the springtime with preparing for more advanced grade levels. So I think we'll see this one grow over the course of the year. Academic tracking is something you guys probably know by now that Joel and I love our trackers. And so we'll talk a little bit more when we talk about those zones on the tracking for elementary students. And then English language learner supports. There's been numerous listening sessions. Joel meets with our Welcome Center coordinators, I want to say monthly. So lots of voice collection from that community. And then SPED program and training, you guys received that update from Grant at the beginning of the year. We do plan to do kind of a mid-year check-in on that, but so far those procedures are in place, and we would report out on that at a later date. Okay. So in this bucket, first I want to stop with the regular attenders. So that's 77%, that's just K-5. As a state average, they're 67% for K-12. So it's not quite a reasonable comparison there, but we do have better attendance, obviously, at elementary school. The state added an accountability metric starting this year to focus in on K-2 attendance. And so I thought it'd be interesting to find out what's our K-2 attendance looking like it would be projected to be by the end of the year. And it was 78%. And then Joel said, well, why don't we look at 3-5 too? And I was like, funny enough, it is 78% as well, which is above the state average, but you think about that being just over a quarter of our students attending school regularly at the elementary level, which we want to really improve. And I do believe that starting with that K-2, building those strong habits at those early grades with families is really important to shape how they view attendance for the rest of their academic career with us. Moving on to the red zone, yellow zone, green zone here. So these are split out by ELA and math, and the data that we used to determine these for elementary was OSAS and iReady. So we took a side-by-side comparison. I put in a formula to help me decide when they would be yellow zone, when they would be red zone. So right, if they scored very low on OSAS, but maybe they've done really well on iReady, then they're gonna be in the yellow, right? So it kind of balances that out. You do have that column of OSAS that's gonna stay the same all year. That's gonna help us alert to, hey, this kid really probably struggled last year. And then the iReady that will move throughout the year. Again, this is based on that September benchmark. So we would expect to see a larger yellow zone. And throughout the year, that should funnel up into green as students reach grade level. But that is something, those stoplights are something we're working on very closely at looking at the individual student level and wanting to enhance what those interventions look like and how we're tracking that. So that's something we're really actively working on right now.
So just to clarify that the green zone,
Mhm.
small green zone,
Mhm.
that's students who in September are already performing at grade level.
Yes, or like high or close to, yes, yeah. Mhm.
So that would be unusual.
Yes. Yes.
I'm not sure the color thing is actually all that helpful because the yellow is not cautionary. That's what I expect
Mhm.
right there.
Mhm.
Whereas with using the stoplight system, it's almost like we should be worried about that yellow bar, but that yellow bar is right where it ought to be.
It'll be real interesting to see that shift from the next report in
Yeah.
April based off the winter data.
It's almost like it'd make more sense to have it be a bell curve and be like, okay, we
Right.
want to move the curve to the right, and
Mhm.
are we moving that curve? Like, what's the increments along that bottom line?
The other thing that we
So happy.
I love a good bell curve.
I think that the thing that this doesn't capture that carries a lot of weight is the teacher's evaluation of a student being on or off grade level. That we don't know, I'm not sure how to capture that in a graph yet, but I imagine that eventually we'll get there.
We don't
So,
have colors.
of course we'll have colors.
Okay.
Okay.
I love this. Thank you. I can't even imagine how many hours of work.
You know,
This-
graphic artist.
I don't know. I just I really want to understand what's going on in fifth grade
Okay.
better. And I think the best, from my perspective, it's where is it working well and why? It's
Mhm.
kind of my first. Do these statistics hold true at Crook River? Does it hold true when boys are in sports? Does it hold true when they have a male teacher? What are the success factors that are working, and how do we replicate this? Because it's just we have such a statistical difference, and we just no blame at all. We just don't understand it,
Mhm.
and it's just we all know when a fifth grader is going to a sixth grader, that's kind of one of those major life
Mhm.
trajectories where I feel like students kind of go either way, and it's we want to send them into middle school on the best foot possible.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
think that it even mirrors to some of the feedback we're hearing from parents, why in middle school can we pull up all the data on assignments, but my fifth grader I can't, and
Yeah.
I think we could even impart parents more to be starting to hold their fifth graders accountable, because to me that's when, at least with my kids, I'm okay, it's time to
Mhm.
pay attention and go with the program.
Yeah. We are hoping to move the grade book down to the fifth grade level, so that way there is an active grade book and we get parents in the habit of using parent view sooner than later.
I think that would be really empowering to a lot, because we heard that at the committee,
Mhm.
they're I want to know.
Real time
Yeah.
academic really is a big thing for fifth and fourth. I think they fourth.
Fourth,
So.
yeah.
Mhm.
I feel like we're
Yeah.
jumping a little into the academic committee meeting right here, but
Mhm.
I almost want to have the math section, because math to me is something that's very concrete,
Yeah.
the writing and ELA. It's a little bit harder. There's some things you can do with data points, but math, the areas where kids are succeeding and when they're failing. I'd almost want the math broken down. Okay, what areas are we doing
Yeah,
really well?
where are
Mhm.
Is it percentages? Is it multiplication?
Yeah.
Where are we? Is there a consistency across the board of where we're not succeeding? And what could we do to fix that?
Yeah.
This other thing we were talking about in the academic committee, which you chaired, was, it's just like when parents have that visibility, like it allows me to intervene quickly at low stakes moments, like versus waiting till it's escalated to like, oh, now we're just super behind.
I mean, the reason I'm fixating on the math too is because I'm looking at those trends going down. The
Yeah.
ELA was really impressive to me where they're going up.
Mhm.
The math, I could just see it where it was like, okay, you lost students here, we never got them back, and then we lost more students here the next year.
Yeah,
They just don't catch up.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like just reading the numbers.
that's what I said too.
Yeah.
Because you love math.
I love everything.
Math was a something as we look through this that we identified too as something we need to dig deeper into. So we'll absolutely do that.
It's like you guys have done such great work. It's like, I mean, how many students have come up and been like, we hate the part is math?
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
there's so much goodness there. And so
Yeah.
just like, but like what happens in fifth grade? Like hormones? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's great. I mean, it's the board goal, 1.12, where it's that, those grade level transitions. Because they do matter and you see, I'm not sure why, but it'd be an interesting study of why do some kids enter sixth grade ready to go and thrive, and why do some really seem to get off track? So
Yeah.
definitely a good goal set by the board.
So we are about 15 minutes into this 30-minute presentation with a quarter of it, so we might want to pick up just a bit.
Yeah, so maybe we could just go through each category and maybe go through what questions they have.
Okay, we can do that. Okay, so shifting gears to the secondary, flipping the page over. All right, so here you've got the lights stayed the same on both pages. You've recently had updates that we've already covered. One of the things that I want to draw our attention to first, we've been talking about the OSAS, so maybe we look to the middle school math and ELA proficiency. This is interesting with the boys and girls disaggregated because you see the girls advancing and the boys now falling off in both categories. So that's something worth digging into more. I think that one, like I said, is really a yellow light because we're looking at the data for it right now, but we want to do more about it. And when we talk about the zones later, you'll see that we start to take a more comprehensive look of the students once we hit middle school that might make some sense in those regards. Yeah, go.
I'm sorry. I just like, it'd be interesting, like, to even ask like leadership at the schools, like what's like 2 or 3 hypotheses of like why you guys think this is happening, you know, and then dive into the data from that, because it's like, I mean, Hillary's very curious here, and it's like I'm dying to ask them really good questions, but like they're living and breathing this all the time, and there has to be a perspective that they have that we can then, you know, further research. But I'd love to get their input into maybe why some of these things are happening and where they see interventions being successful.
Absolutely.
Where's the 9-12 math and ELA proficiency data?
So this year we did the ASVAB. So we reported on that in lieu of OSAS because our OSAS participation rate, I want to say, was 40% for our 11th graders last year. So we didn't include that on here, but I'd be happy to include
That
it.
only went to one grade.
Yes, so it only goes to 11th
Well, I
graders.
mean, this is the period when employers are judging us most by what's about to come out, and we're flying blind.
Yeah.
And looking at your writing assessment data, that's nonsense.
Yeah, so the writing assessment data is this was a big aha for us of like, wow, there's obviously not alignment 612. We want to improve that. So the middle school took this differently than the high school. The high school, that's their final grade on their assessment with lots of revisions perhaps and scaffolding. The middle school's reports are less scaffolding, particularly 7th grade, where they used it as just a complete pre-assessment. So again, writing data, we want to create some clear parameters around how we're going to be doing it, and improve on that for sure.
To me, that's one of your homework assignments from this is go figure out how you're gonna tell the board how 9-12 is going and be able to assure our public that we are doing what we're supposed to do. We graduate, and the diploma is not just a piece of paper.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that ASVAB will play a part in that. We will be testing our juniors, I want to say in February. So that'll be before that, but we've reported a number of things to the board in the past, like proficiency rates. It's really hard when you don't. It's unfortunate that the high school across the state has not bought into the state assessment. And the state set up a system that doesn't work for juniors, where they're taking the ACT, they're taking the SAT, they're taking AP class, they're taking certifications. It just doesn't fit nicely into a bar graph like we got.
100%, but we have been waiting since the Obama administration for them to lead, and they haven't done it yet. So if they're not gonna do it, I guess maybe we better do it.
Yeah, so I think the ASVAB's a piece of that, so I'm excited as that develops, and digging into that data.
Yeah. And a little bit about the ASVAB. So our 10th graders took it this year. They've already gotten their scores back. They're had a presentation of how to read those scores. And the interesting thing about the ASVAB data, right, is it's used for students to identify where their strengths are so they can look towards careers perhaps that might align with those strengths. So it's I believe it's going to lead to some really authentic conversations between our students and their teachers and their counselors. And in terms of juniors taking it, we're shaping that around our careers class as well. So they'll be able to take that with careers and then use those in that class. So we're excited about that. Other questions in this category? I love looking at our graduation rates over time because it gives you a real picture of where we've been and where we are today and how we've maintained where we are today. And it makes me really proud of our high school teams and systems there. Okay. Our next steps here, continue doing what we're doing with the tracking of credits, maintaining those graduation rates. Also, our freshman on track rate of 95%, that's really strong and a good predictor of success for our students in graduating, obviously. Aligning the writing proficiency is a big task district-wide that we've identified. And then digging deeper into the math proficiency, and I'll add the ways that we can be looking at 9-12 data to inform us on where those students are at and how they're doing before they head off into college and careers. Opportunity for secondary. So you all recently received the pathways update. You'll see on the left-hand side there is what pathways have been selected thus far this year. A quick thing while talking about pathways that I wanted to update you on. You had asked about the Associates of Science transfer degree a few months ago. So I worked with the high school team. We've looked into that. And we have the AAOT this year, second year of it. Last year was adopted real quickly. It's still working out a few kinks, but it's doing well, and we have more and more students interested in it. The Associates of Science, there's some more specific science classes associated with that. So what we currently can do is make sure that those kids are available to take those classes at COCC if they so wish to do so, and can earn that if they'd like through that route currently. So that was really exciting, I think. Then 96% of our high school students get enrolled in a CTE course. I think that's really awesome that we're giving that exposure to kids. All of our AP classes are aligned with dual credit, so students have both options in every class they take at Crook County High School. Certifications. So I want to give you guys a little update on this one. Last year, we earned 480, which was a huge number. This year, Ryan and Jake and the team, they're really focused on making sure that those certifications are authentically tied to students and what they want to do and that they're really meaningful. So we will see that number go down this year. Also, when you think about like our construction students, many of them got OSHA 10 last year. Now they don't need it. They got it. So we'll see that probably come in some waves. But I am very excited about the work that Ryan's doing there. The health sciences teacher is certified to be able to give CPR first aid trainings. So students are able to get those. They're able to get their food handlers. I mentioned the OSHA 10 and the blueprint. These are really great certifications that our kids can get, or students can get in-house. Next, as we shift over to that graduates post-secondary plans, that was last year what students reported doing. Yeah.
This is great that they're enrolled. I'd love to see like, what's the percentage of them actually going through a CTE and then actually coming out with a certificate? and that includes like things that have already been earned before, right? But
Mhm.
it's just like, how much of our graduating class is leaving, not just with a diploma, but also with some other kind of employable skill?
Yeah, yeah, we can get that number, absolutely. Mhm. Um, so and this ties directly to what you're just mentioning is these, what students are doing after high school. As I was thinking about this a lot over the break, I feel like I ran into graduates everywhere I went. And it was really encouraging to talk to some of these students and, hey, what are you up to now? And I had one individual that she was like, Van Rokel, guess what? I'm going to college now. Like I said, I was going to go straight into the workforce, and now I'm in college. And then next year, I'm planning on transferring to a state school. I'm in community college now. And it was just this like aha reminder of we give kids these opportunities, and we don't always know when it's going to influence them in their future. But some of the work that, Mackenzie Kudlak does with making sure every student that comes out of Pioneer has been, made sure that they have a birth certificate, have a driver's license, the things that they need to move forward in their life. I feel there's a lot of heart that goes into that work, and then we get to see it as these students graduate and say, guess what I'm doing now? And it's always something awesome. So proud of our community and our schools in that regard.
I think that's so important because it's like if we can just protect these teenagers as long as possible, that they're not closing doors
Mhm.
in their academic career. Like, I mean, we literally dropped one off at Oregon State, because I was like, oh, cool, you showed up. Like, there's really exciting.
Yeah.
But if you'd asked me 2 years ago, I'd been like, I don't know. But it's just sometimes some kids need a year or two. But I'm proud to the high school team. They had made sure that he had all these classes and that he was prepared. And it took a year for it to come full circle. But
Yeah. Yeah. One of my favorite phrases is that we prepare students to be opportunity ready, not just college and career ready. And you think of bigger districts with multiple high schools that sometimes get specialized in one thing, right? We serve all students at Crook County High School, and I feel really proud of the work that's done there.
To Kelsey's point about encouraging the certificates and supporting and lifting that up,
Mhm.
maybe we could look at revising the graduation program that has this is listed in it. We do for the award ceremony, we list the college going, where the kids are going to college. Why can't we also list the certificates they've earned next to their name, do some codes or something?
Yeah.
And then we carry that over from the award ceremony to the graduation program.
I love that.
Say it's college and career. We keep saying that, but then we celebrate the college. So, bring them both in. And
High school does a great job tracking that information, so
we've got it.
that won't be a big lift.
Yeah.
We got a graphic designer apparently on staff.
I know.
I will not give myself.
The other thing, when we look at certificates, I think there's a lot of certificates coming on around AI readiness, AI engineering, like all those kind of things that kids can be working on. And I mean, I'm seeing a big shift in the industry, even away from college, that if you can come out of the school with some of these certificates in AI and data, like you can have a lot of opportunities. So I think it's worth looking at that as well.
Absolutely. Action items are there. I think these are all the things we've discussed, but I want to shift to is this. This is awesome. So I want to believe this is Kevin, and then also Kelsey with your discussion about matching industry needs to students and their certificates. This fits it. So they're able to offer a wildland firefighter certification training at Crook County High School for our seniors, numerous states this year, and get students into great paying jobs. And unfortunately, there's a big need for this. So this is just one of the examples.
$500 to just complete this course.
And they get paid.
That's what I understand.
They get a stipend if they do get hired on, they get a $300 stipend to buy firefighters.
Yeah.
And I'll just say one thing, when we're talking about our CPE programs, I don't think it's always necessary to tie like welding to, did you get a job as a welder? Or construction. I think it's also important. I fought fires for years. I took welding at a junior college. I didn't apply to be a welder, but when I got on that job fighting fires, it was, hey, does anybody know how to weld? We need some, yeah, I can go do that. Does anyone know how to build this? Or, yeah, I can. It's, and not, look at all our kids that grow up on farms and ranches where those skills, all those skills are, it's either do it or hire someone to do it. So it may not be what you're going to end up doing, but it's certainly beneficial.
Absolutely.
The health, all the health courses, all of that, I think, should be reminders to kids that these things are really good.
So now that we're at half an hour, so many questions. We suggest we finish up this page and we transfer the second half of this presentation to the next meeting.
I love that.
Do this again on page 3 and 4.
I love for,
Is that all right?
so the rest of the board knows when Scott and I met last week, and you guys had a draft this, he called this radical transparency. One of my favorite sayings was, you can't improve what you're not measuring. And so it's so cool. I'm so proud of Bree and the work of just getting back this system.
And you've generated the kind of discussion we would want to have.
Yeah.
I mean, we went from like nothing to this.
Hey, we're working around here. So, yeah, I think that's a great idea. Come back with building bridges and connected, safe and stable at our next meeting.
But let's finish page 2.
We've got one more section here. I love that.
Go ahead.
Okay.
I want to ask you about academic zones.
I love that. Which is that's the big thing here, right? Those grade level transitions. Our freshmen, we've got a lot of supports around how we get students from 8th grade to 9th grade. We have a freshman on track coordinator at the high school who does a tremendous job checking in on those students, making sure if they're falling below, they're failing classes, that they're getting interventions. And so that's a real strong suit of our systems there. And then academic tracking, again, this one follows through, but I do feel I want to give a shout out to the middle school and high school because their academic tracking systems in this are really strong. I put the stoplights in the tracker for the middle school and they said, hey, we sort it by red, green, yellow, and then we go through those kids every week and we talk about who's doing what for each student. And that's exactly what those are intended to do. So the design behind these formulas was a lot of 9th grade on track research talks about the ABCs, and that's attendance, behavior, and course completion or course performance, right? So this gives you the students, the formula uses the F counts, their attendance, their referrals, and then at the secondary level or at the high school level, whether or not they're on track with their credits.
Includes if they're involved in a club too.
It does. Yeah, it probably does. Yeah.
I think that's important.
Yeah. Yeah. So that is how we look at that. There's a lot of systems that the high school has built over time. Credit to Joel for starting it. I want to say of those looking at those F counts and the credit tracking that we've kind of utilized. Because when we think like our conversations earlier about differences in achievement between boy and girl, it's important, especially once you get to middle school, to be thinking holistically about the student and then leading the interventions from there. So that's where those come from. Scott, you had a question. You had a question, right? About the zones? Yeah.
So I just want to understand the difference between page 1 and page 2. On page 1, we have these little tiny green zones, which are to be expected because it's early. Then we have these giant green zones that overtake everything else. And if we're using the same methodology, why would we not have the same distributions?
Well, because the methods are different, perhaps, because we're only looking at the academics at the lower grade levels. And then for the F counts, so this is end of trimester F counts, and we have high passing rates, especially in 6th through 12th grade. So you'd see those as green. If you were looking at that maybe midway through the trimester, you'd see more yellow because you'd have more kids failing classes. Those high schoolers have a real special way of turning their grades around come the end of the term. Yeah, there you go.
The language would lead you to believe that these are comparable, but they're really not.
No.
Maybe some different titling would be.
Yeah, absolutely. Or a bell curve.
Just show what you're measuring.
We can put in the barriers.
Mm-hmm.
All right, get over there. Any more presentation?
See you guys next time at the Hoover Dam. As we continue our walk through the dashboard.
Jen, I don't want to leave you out of this. I don't even know if you could follow that.
Yes, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks,
you.
Jen.
Okay, we will do pages 3 and 4 next month. Thank
Okay.
you. That's a lot of work. Thank you. Okay, we are up to policies. I know, or no, we're up to the board committee roster update.
8.1 is gonna go really quick for you. In your packet, we've talked about our committees. There's a few additional people wanting to join each committee. Those are listed in your packet. They're the names in blue. There's a, it looks like for each committee, there's at least 1 or 2 people. There's a sample motion on the bottom of that cover sheet.
Well, I would like to weigh on this with an additional suggestion for this one. This is policy. This is board work. This is primarily the board's job is policy. And staff informs the board so we don't implement policies that are unworkable when possible. So what we had talked about at the policy committee that didn't make it in the final draft is that a proposal that we add a protocol so that no motion would be able to advance without an affirmative vote of at least 1 board member on that committee to be able to pass. There's no reason to take a matter we couldn't settle at the committee and transfer it to the full board, because we'll just have the same debate all over again, no matter what. And we don't want a position where the board members were both opposed and the staff were in favor. So if we just add that voting protocol, so you need at least 1 vote from 1 board member to bring it forward, we'll save ourselves some political trouble later. If I may suggest that while we get around to the adoption.
Yeah, we did. That is a really good idea, and it for some reason didn't make it in the final draft. So that would just say the motion would look similar to moving to add the listed members to a committee, as well as requiring for the policy committee 1 affirmative vote
For any committee.
For any committee, 1 affirmative vote from a board member.
Yep.
Great.
Does that work?
Do you need a motion?
I do. I move to do what Joel said.
As stated.
Or as stated.
I move to do what Joel said.
I like that motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Eric second. So the motion is to add these members listed to the board committees and to add a requirement that for a motion to advance, it must have the affirmative vote of at least 1 board member to pass. We will call a roll. Jen?
Yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
Kelsey?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Okay, moving on to superintendent selection process. Brady. Joe. Shh, it's quiet. Cannot talk.
On the silent.
About you. You had problems with that last time.
All right, so hopefully just a quick update on the appointment process for the superintendent. Last week, the survey went out to staff, students, families, and community members starting on Monday. So this week, we're in week 2 of the 3-week delivery and gathering feedback. We've gotten a good amount. I think we're pretty happy with the amount that's come back so far. Hopefully we get some more coming in. After these 3 weeks, we have a presentation at the February board meeting to present the results to you guys. Also in February, then we have the listening sessions. We have 7 planned right now. So it's gonna be a busy February. After those listening sessions in February, then we give a report out at the March board meeting with the results from the listening sessions. And then on the next slide, there's some more details about the listening sessions going on.
So the listening sessions are all in February, like Joe mentioned. It's going to be a busy month for us, but a meaningful one. The outcome of the survey is intended to influence the questions that we choose to ask in those listening sessions. The themes, however, are listed on the slide that we'll be covering. What we do need to do tonight is look at the list of signups. Because we've got a few there where there's 3 board members present. That does not work. So, yeah, if you can see those dates up there, it's the Tuesday certified staff one, the classified staff, and the Spanish speaking families, that would need to be switched around. It's up to you guys how you want to go about that.
I'm conversant in Spanish, so I can go, or if there's somebody more fluent that wanted to go.
I just want to make sure it was covered, so. Eric, Eric, what are you just, how many do you want, Eric? I don't want to just drop you.
I was just willing to drop whatever we needed to make it 2.
We didn't need to solve this problem by dropping Eric off everything. Why don't you leave Eric on Spanish and take me off? You can watch the tape later and get what I want. Because I'm out of town that night anyway. Maybe move, can somebody move from the 23rd to the 24th? We've got that hole there.
I can do the 24th.
That doesn't solve my quorum problem. All right, one of you needs to drop off the 23rd.
Hey, Scott,
Yeah,
I must not be looking at the same sheet as you guys. So, because I have some blanks on here, so I don't ever see that there's 3 signed up for certain individuals.
Yeah. What's being on the video and what's in our packet is different, Jen.
Okay. Phew, I thought I was losing my mind.
Not yet.
can you see on screen, Jen? Can you see the?
No.
It should be coming up on the screen shortly.
Okay.
So something needs to happen on the 23rd. Somebody needs to move preferably to the 18th.
I can do that.
Kevin, thank you.
Yep.
So put Kevin on the 18th. Now it's balanced.
Sammy.
Yay.
We'll change
Good
that.
job, everybody.
Oh, okay.
Look at us.
Right.
All right.
And,
Oh,
sorry.
no, okay.
And these meetings will be public meetings, because we have 2 board members present.
Yep.
They will do all the things.
Do we have designation on like who is gonna do all the proper things to make sure that rules are followed?
We don't have to do any sort of public announcement or anything at the beginning. We just have to advertise the meetings and then staff will run them and the board will watch, and it shouldn't require any other process beyond that. Other than they are public meetings, we'll need some sort of minutes, but minutes could be as short as saying there was a public meeting and these people attended. Stop.
Yep.
Okay.
I wanted to comment to the room and to our virtual audience. I've been watching some things on social media where people are commenting that this is stupid. The board should just go straight to the appointment process. It's very clear we like our superintendent and we don't need all this overkill process. And that is exactly what I would be hoping to hear. Because the more we hear from people that they're bored with the process and it's become obvious, the more we are succeeding. So keep at it. If your sessions are poorly attended, I'll say that's because people are saturated with the opportunity to comment. That's a good thing. And, you know, this is all about future legitimacy. Everybody can say they love Joel now, but when things go all wrong, then the first thing they'll say is, well, he didn't get through a process. We're gonna make sure that doesn't happen. And we're fully backing our superintendent who we eventually appoint. So boredom is a good thing in this case.
Okay.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we're up.
Oh, I'm gonna stay here.
Okay, these were all reviewed by the policy committee. I want to call to your attention the memo that's on your table of community feedback. We had not received this at the time the policy committee heard this. So I've got some suggestions on how we handle that as we go through in order to integrate that.
Where's the memo?
Or does everybody have it?
Oh, this one?
Yeah, it says community feedback of the
Okay.
policy.
Okay, all right.
Came in after the fact from the Community School Boards Association. Okay, go.
Directory information. This one is just an update to follow the guidance from OSBA. I actually love it because it takes a lot of things out of what would be considered directory information that I've always thought were a little odd. So that's your update there. The only thing we added was allowing for it to say school and or dates of attendance rather than just dates of attendance. So it's very clear to everyone that school's included. Any questions or concerns?
Why don't we go through all of these and then adopt them as a batch? Unless we'll pull one, if we have anything that's contentious, we'll pull it out. So who was that next?
Thank you.
Next, I've got policy BBE. This is vacancies on the board. This emerged as we had significant board turnover over the last few years. We saw a few gaps in our procedures and policies. So these are actually recommendations from Mr. Denver. And as you'll see, for example, it's very technical things like in our former policy, it had, or draft, it had that the ESD would appoint the whole board if there was not a majority. And this cleans up that language where as soon as the local board has a majority, they would then start appointing. So some cleanup language there that's gone through the policy committee. Okay, then moving forward with BDCAR. This was actually a catch by the fantastic Miss Tammy Parker, where the policy is completely out of alignment with the public laws around executive sessions. So we're actually recommending a complete deletion of this AR. We still have our policy that lays out the foundations of executive session. This just was way out of whack and it would open us up to some legal liability if we enforced it. So we are recommending a deletion of this policy.
And this is one that the school boards have commented on. So what I'd suggest with that is we go ahead and delete the inoperable policy now. The policy committee will look at that February 2nd. And if there's merit in what they're recommending, which is that we adopt the grants pass policy, that then we'll bring that back to the board at the next.
Yep. So next policy, JECB. This is our admissions of non-resident students. So when a student requests, they live in Bend and they're requesting to come join Crook County School District. This moves our current policy more in line with practice, whereas our former policy had kind of these arbitrary dates that to say the board would cap the number of enrollees. That's not something we do. There also is a couple other just kind of cleanup language where the board doesn't look at every single transfer and really make any sort of action or request. So this just brings up the language in the policy up to our practice.
Questions? Nope. Jen, you keeping up?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very similar, the next policy, JEC, this aligns policy with the practice. For example, you look down in that second to bottom paragraph. Our current practice says, our current policies is the parent will be responsible for providing transportation. We've had a long-standing practice where if there's a bus going and a student transfers that, we kept the language may in there, but it really just, again, brings up the policy to our current practice.
Okay, EEB. The question that brought this policy up was that the way public transportation was defined. So what we did is we put a definition in the policy of public transportation, because what we're trying to do is not considered public transportation. So we made that change to that, added that one little paragraph, second paragraph to it. The AR that follows that, the only thing that needed to be changed in the AR was it addressed where requests needed to go to, and it had Michelle Williams laid out specifically. And so what we did is we changed that to a transportation email that targets like 3 different people. And then no matter who has that job, that's always going to go to those people.
Okay. So that's all of them. What I want to point out is the way the policy language works, policy adoption language is if it's a unanimous vote on the first read, then it is considered adopted and it doesn't need to come back for a second read. Because we have input from the public that still needs to be considered on BBE, BDCAR, EEB, and EEBAR.
I want to suggest we go ahead tonight and vote those in on first read, but then designate them to come back for second read. After the policy committee has a chance to review this input that we've received, which will get us through tonight. Then we can take it up again and finish it to February. So the policies I did not name, which are JOA, JECB, JECC, would become effective upon passage tonight. Would that work?
Can I do a motion of what Scott said? Okay, I put a motion of what Scott said.
I'll second that.
Motion from Kelsey, a second from Kevin. Any discussion? All right, let's vote. Jen,
Yes, sir.
Kevin.
Yes.
Kelsey.
Yes.
Eric.
Yes.
Chair votes yes, so that's where we're at. Okay, some reminders about upcoming dates. We don't have school on Martin Luther King Day, January 19th. Committee meetings for building bridges on January 28th, the Policy Review Committee on February 2nd, the Long Range Facilities Planning Committee February 4th. If you're interested in attending or joining any of those, see the superintendent. School board meeting February 9th, listing sessions. We just talked about all those, so I'm not gonna read them again. We have no school on the 13th of February due to a district directed staff development day, and no school on President's Day, February 16th. That is, then we have the Academic Excellence Committee meeting on February 25th. So you all come and do that. Let's do public comments. If you wish to make a public comment, please complete a comment card prior to the start of public comment. Do we have any comment cards? Okay, do we have anything online? Okay, if you are viewing online, please indicate you would like to speak. You have a few seconds till I finish reading this. When you are recognized, please state your name and any group you're representing. Keep your comments to no more than 4 minutes. And a bell will chime when 30 seconds are remaining, and another bell will chime when the 4 minutes have ended. And a group of visitors with a common purpose should designate a spokesperson for the group. And if you wish to request that the board consider an agenda item, please contact the superintendent at least 1 week prior to the next board meeting. Per policy BDDH, the board will not hear comments regarding any individual district staff member. If you have a complaint about a specific staff member, please contact the superintendent or the board chair. Does anybody in the room have any public comment after that along those lines? Seeing none, I thank you all for your attendance tonight. If we have no other business, we will stand adjourned.
Thank you.